Hey guys, so we're going to do a reading. I would like to touch on the Trump and Epstein thing again. I know there are a lot of you who've been kind of keeping an eye on it, but I want to come, I already read there's a client list. It's on my other video if you want to check it out. Of course there is. And it was so interesting because the power card is in there too, and it's a Four of Pentacles. But the end card, the outcome card, wealth, okay, I said it all. It's not just about protecting Trump, I believe. I believe it's about protecting other people who are on it, some friends and things like that. Now, there's a good question about that. Epstein happened, his suicide happened in 2019. Oh, and they're starting to talk about missing minutes. I talked about that in my video. I told you guys there was missing minutes and stuff. They say 1 minute, but maybe it could be a wee bit longer, okay, so there's some stuff there. But anywho, I digress. There are some interesting things that are coming up, and just kind of go in there, that Trump just did a post. It's starting to get under his skin, Epstein. But yes, why Biden never released the Epstein files. I believe there's some stuff there that crosses party lines. In other words, people that went to Epstein Island and various things, it's not only Republicans, and it's certainly not only Democrats. It's a mix. We've got hints of Clinton and others. It's a mix. I mean, do we think only Republican baddies like underage girls? Okay, come on. Of course not. Okay, we should be wise enough to know there's more. But Trump was heavily involved with Epstein, and it's a fact that we know that there were young girls that he had hired at Mar-a-Lago that were recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell and sent to Epstein. Okay, but they don't want to talk about. He don't want to talk about that shit. Okay, so. But he did a post today, and then we're going to do a reading if this is the end of MAGA. I mean, if this is really like going to hurt him bad, come to an end. So we're going to go a different angle here. As is a post he did today on True Social. What's going on with my boys and in some cases gals? I don't know why he puts boys and gals in quotes. He's obviously talking to his base. So I want you to notice the line 1 of this post. He is speaking to his base like they are children. Boys and gals. He is speaking to his base. He's not saying, what's going on with the men and women that are my supporters. He's not saying what's going on with my supporters, what's going on with the men and women in my movement. He is going boys and gals. Okay, so he's coming at you like old grandpa. He's going to talk down to you like you're acting like fucking children. So I want you to pay attention to that, okay? He's talking to his base like they're stupid little kids. They're acted up like children. Okay, that's clear. Or he would have addressed them as men and women and adults, supporters, something. Okay? They're all going after Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is doing a fantastic job. Fantastic job is in caps. We're on one team, MAGA, and I don't like what's happening. So he's trying to bring the base back in. Hey, we're a team, okay? He knows if he loses a lot of supporters, okay, it's going to crumble. Okay, we have a perfect administration, the talk of the world, and selfish people is in quotes, are trying to hurt it all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. So who is he calling the selfish people? Okay, first of all, he's talking down to MAGA like they're children. If MAGA happens to find my video, I would love it. Okay, he's talking to you like you're children, but now he's saying you're being selfish. I've got this really good administration. Pam Bondi's a really good lady. And you're being kind of selfish because you won't let this die. All over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, and let's kind of get back to it, to the quotes. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Well, I wonder why. Probably because what he did is pretty despicable. And there are people with wealth and power who got away with abusing. And the victim list is long, it's over 200 girls. Okay, Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by, and then he tries to blame it, written by Obama, crooked Hillary, Comey, Brennan, and the losers and the criminals of the Biden administration? Here he goes. He's blaming all the Dems who conned the world with the Russia is no hoax. 51 intelligence agents, the laptop from hell. So let's talk about Hunter Biden's laptop. Let's throw in Obama. Let's see what he's doing. He's trying to say it's a Democratic hoax now. He's trying to say it's a Democratic hoax. They created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Christopher Steele dossier that they used on me, and now my so-called friends are playing right in their hands. Now, see, he's talking about there's some people that are even in his thing, people that, like higher ups that support Steve Bannon, various ones. Kash Patel is kind of caving, though, but there are people who are about to walk from him over this Epstein thing. And then back to quote, why didn't these radical left lunatics release the Epstein files? That is actually a very good question. Why didn't Joe Biden release them when they had, information? Now, they could have been still compiling and interviewing witnesses. We know we had the Ghislaine Maxwell trial, but there probably is some Democrats that went to Epstein Island too. Okay, so there's that. So it's not, Dems aren't perfect in handling the Epstein files either, guys. Okay, but they should have released them. If there was anything in there that could have hurt the MAGA movement, why didn't they use it? They haven't even given up on John F. Kennedy or Martin Luther King Jr. files, Trump says. Sorry. Yeah, no, a lot of people want to know everything about JFK and Martin Luther King, you bet. Trump, and then, it kind of talks about Trump's post comes as the internal fighting within administration, because it's happening. Even his people, are fighting over this. And then you've got MAGA. That, oh my God, the posts, guys. I watched some YouTubes. I got to see, even on True Social, to that post, there's about 17,000 posts, and a lot of them are very critical and everything about it. And they want the Epstein files released. They said you broke your promise, you're breaking your word. We want these people to go down. There might be a few people who might think he's innocent in some way or something, but less are believing that. Now, I don't know how you guys feel. I just debated some MAGA yesterday. I know they can be difficult to get through, but we need people to wake up. As a spiritualist, I want people to wake up. I also want people to save their soul. No, I don't like the way they behave and what happened. I certainly hate January 6th and that nonsense and the way people treat each other. But I have a belief also that there's a good chunk of people before they started this whole scare of immigrants and things. I believe there are people that maybe weren't racist beforehand that became that way. That other people, they were nice people until they started getting programmed, and then it brought out the shadow side in them. We all got a shadow, we all got to integrate it, we all got to take care of it, but not everybody has done shadow work. Okay, so there's that as well. But we want people to wake up, we want people to save their soul, and everything. And yeah, we really need unity, because united we stand, divided we fall. So we want to pray for these people to wake up, come out of the haze. But is this the end of MAGA? What's going to happen? Let's check it out. A little bit different take. We'll see if that wealth and power card pops up again. So, and I would like to see how Trump is feeling about it. Is he scared? What's going on? And stuff. Definitely got some things here. I got something there, and I don't know what that is. Okay, there it is. Check it out. So we got the Fool card popping up in here. So immediately my thought, he wants to play MAGA for a fool. Okay? He's trying to fool people here. Okay, so MAGA, if you're watching, notice Fool card is number 1. Okay? He wants to fool you. It's very clear. Sometimes a fool is just a fool and stuff. And yes, he's fooled a lot of people. He's been a con man all his life. He's good at what he does. I will give Trump that. He knows how to talk a good game to people and all that shit. Obviously. Okay, or he wouldn't have amassed the following he does. But he fooled a lot of people. It's time to come out of the haze. Okay, but, you know, hopefully we get to see MAGA fool no more and stuff. So the Ace of Swords, okay, we got to get to the truth. That's what MAGA wants. They want the truth. Ace of Swords is about the truth. And when it cut through the bullshit, they want, that's what they want, and they're very upset they're not getting it. They've been wanting these files released, exposed, these people to go to jail. You know, these young girls, you know, the whole trafficking, all that, they find it disgusting. You know, this is one thing, you know, if I look at any kind of morality, they hate this shit. Okay? They want the truth to come out. That's what it's about, right? Hidden area. This is the area. Power. Yep, that came up last time. Yes. 4 of Pentacles. Wealth, power, energy here. Okay? They're covering it up for powerful people are on that list. Of course they are, guys. You bet. And stuff. But we got the 2 of Swords energy popping up in here. This is about choices. Okay? And so MAGA people have a choice here. They can either just, you know, okay, I'll play the fool and stay with Trump. There's definitely some fence sitters here. And then there are some that are burning their hats on social media. But there are people on the fence like, I don't know if I can continue. I don't want to ever vote Democrat. This is kind of mentality when I tune in. I don't want to vote Democrat. But at the same time, this guy promised us the Epstein files, everything be exposed. And per the mythology, Trump would be the one to blow the lid off the whole thing. And there would be all these trials and all these celebrities and business people and politicians and whoever they are, power people, would be exposed. So this right here, there's a lot of people that have a hard choice to make here and stuff to walk away and stuff. But notice the Ace of Swords, they want the truth. Okay, if you're not going to give them the truth, people are going to walk away, it looks like. And stuff. So the Princess of Cups, what I feel that represents the young girls that were the victims on Epstein Island and all of this, and by Epstein himself and the other people and everything he got these young girls for. This is what they're thinking of. It was disgusting. They want, you know, these people to go to jail. They don't want them to get, that really bothers them that all these people, their money and power, they're going to get away with it. See what's coming up in the next few months with everything. Yeah, well, we got the lust card that popped up in the last read. You know, the lust of Jeffrey Epstein and those who partaked in this stuff. You know, it's disgusting, absolutely. And stuff. But that's very interesting. The defeat card is popping up in there. Okay, Trump is, you know, he's trying to win the battle here. Okay, he wants this to go away very badly, and he wants to save his base. But he's not winning this one. If he doesn't release the Epstein files, he's losing a lot of people. So the defeat card, that's for Trump for sure. For sure. He's not coming out victorious and stuff. And the Princess of Swords, that is about news, information, communication, and everything. It's all over social media. He wants this to be silenced, to go away. As it's sitting in a prominent position at the crown, it's not going away. It's not going out of the news. Okay? Nope, it's not happening. Queen of Cups energy, my very first thought with that, I'm kind of feeling that's Pam Bondi energy and stuff. Let's kind of go ahead and see and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of light. This is the waking up card for me and stuff. I feel she's trying to come at people like, you know, and everything. This prosecuting, trying to be like, I'm on your side, I'm a nice person, there's nothing to see here, and all that stuff. But the Queen of Cups can also be emotionally manipulative. Okay, but MAGA is like there. Once she opened her mouth and said there's no Epstein list, they started to see the light. A lot of people. Okay, so that Sun card waking up. Let's see what's in Trump's position. As up, change card is in his position. A lot of thing is changing. Okay, because we've got people that are starting to walk away. You know, there some are hanging in there in hopes he'll just cave and release these files. It's not going to happen. Oh, the tower. Oh yeah, this is all crumbling down. You know, his administration, Epstein is this is the thing. This goes against their mythology. He was going to blow the lid off of this. It is crumbling down and everything. So, you know, once she said that, that's where it's tumbling. It's tumbling on his head. Let's look in the environment, what we've got. Ten of Cups energy, that makes me feel, for, in this case, White House energy. Let's see what's going on there and stuff. And then we've also, there is still going to be some people faithful. I've got the love card here and stuff. So he's still going to have some faithful people, but he's going to lose a lot of people. The defeat there is there. So not everybody's walking away. There are still some that no matter what, they may actually believe it's a Democratic conspiracy and stuff. And then the strength card, that is what he's hoping, is to retain strength. Failure is the outcome card. Okay, he'll keep some of his base. So as I kind of look at it, MAGA is not dead, but it's going to shrink, yes, with the tower card, the crumbling down. This is the limit for a good chunk and stuff. As a matter of fact, but he's still gonna, there's still some that he's gonna keep. Not everybody's walking away. Let's kind of see. That's very interesting. We've got the Pluto. I rolled Pluto, which definitely can be about death and transformation. Things coming to an end and stuff. I mean, he could lose, looking at this. I mean, looking at 7 and 12. I would say by the time we get to December, and there's probably other mistakes he's going to make, he may lose 70% of his base. Okay, Epstein is a big one. It's a big one. There's been, you know, I mean, there's kind of a pile up here. You know, we got tariffs, groceries haven't gone down, gas hasn't gone down. He also made a mistake that, you know, all this stuff, you know, the bombing Iran, everybody's like, I don't want any wars. I thought you were going to put an end. A lot of people on both sides of the spectrum do not like what's happening in Gaza. They don't like that. They want all of that to stop, you know. They're just like, you know, except for, you know, some weird people that are war hungry, but majority people are like, we want that to stop, and it hasn't stopped. The cruelty is massive over in Gaza and everything. So they're already having a problem with that, because they're like, I thought you said you'd stop what's going on in Ukraine and what's going on in Israel, and that hasn't happened. He hasn't stopped it and everything. And then now we've got floods in Texas. And one of the things that really bothered me is, like, I believe it was that Friday when the floods were really happening, he was at the White House on the balcony dancing a YMCA while people were literally swept away in a flood and stuff, and it took him a week to get there, you know. So it's absolutely ridiculous, guys. You know, he should have been, like, at least on the phone and but no, he was dancing a YMCA in the thick of it when it was all going down. Okay, so that's one of the things we got to, you know, call a spade a spade. Got to see what, you know, he only cares about himself. But yeah, the failure card, as far as him being able to get this out of the news, no, they're going to keep talking about it. He's also losing people here. He'll keep some, but that tower is in his position. He's going to lose lots of support because of this. As a matter of fact, there are going to be those that really just rake him over the coals. Elon's a big thing. He kind of lit the spark. But when Pam Bondi said no client list, that really, really got it going and stuff. They're walking away. So I feel like by the time we get to December, I feel that MAGA it won't be gone, but it's going to be shrunk massively, possibly even by 70% of his supporters. Okay, you guys, we'll see what happens. Have a good one.